Hello everyone, today I bring to you a Lesney Matchbox #1 Mercedes truck. As you can see, this is missing a lot of paint and the wheels are very beat up, and also the grille and bumper are a bit beat up here, and the windshield has a very slight crack in it. And I will try to restore this truck to the original color and fix this thing all up. The first step is to mix some paint, which I have some paints out here. This is going to be difficult to match this color. I'm going to try and see what I can do. I managed to shock myself with this. I almost instantly was able to get this color paint. All I had to do was take some Tamiya X28, some Tamiya X2, and some Tamiya, what was this, X4. And what I did was I just put a little green in, mixed that with some blue, got a very dark teal, and then put a full pipette of white into it, and was instantly able to get this color that perfectly matches the color of the truck. Like, look at that on the roof. I didn't even have to open up this X5 or the X1, so I got to save some pipettes. I put all the paint into this little resealable bottle that I got off of eBay, and it'll be like opening a new bottle because it puts a seal on it when you put the top on, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, so now I need to strip the model of this paint. Before that, I need to take out this rivet right here, and then I will need to remove the wheels. Now, the way you remove the wheels is you use a burr tool on a Dremel or a sanding wheel or something like that, and you remove this burr on the end of the axle. And once you do that, the wheels will come right off, and I'll show you when the wheels are off and when the rivet has been drilled out. Quick thing I'm also going to mention is when I took this rivet out, I noticed that the windshield is also held in with the rivet, so I'm going to have to remove that with the drill as well. And this post is big enough to tap, so when I show it to you when it's completed, I will also have drilled out and tapped this post. And by the way, I am using this drill because my Dremel does not have a big enough chuck to hold this drill bit in it. Yep, so let's see when that's done. Okay guys, as you can see, there is no more wheels and base or windshield in this car. And there is a tapped screw hole right there, and the screw is in place, and you can see that this is the rivet that held the windshield in place. The windshield I launched over here accidentally. It was a job getting this out. I was scared I was going to go through the roof. You can see there's a ton of scratches and me trying to pry at it. There's a crack there. I'm going to have to shine up this windshield. I'm going to have to repaint this base here as it's really scratched up. You can see even here that the green color is starting to come through on the bottom because this is a green painted piece of plastic. These wheels, this one looks really nice on this side, it looks terrible on that side, but unfortunately I think these ones look just kind of bad on both sides, so I'm going to try to probably paint them up a little bit. I think I can reform these axles. One of them's a little small. I might have to do one brass axle. If I do one brass axle, I will do this side because it will be mostly hidden, so you won't tell that it's brass and the other's metal. Anyway, this is the body of the car, or the truck rather, and you can see that it's missing a lot of its paint, but the interior looks really nice. The interior area has great paint, and the next step will be to paint strip it. There is no interior in this piece, I should also mention, so I don't have to clean that up. But once the paint's stripped, we'll see what it looks like. I also thought I'd throw in this little snippet of how I did all this stuff. Basically, I used this Dremel for most everything. I had the big drill for drilling at the rivet post, as you saw before, but I put the number 50 drill bit into here to drill out the posts. I had to shorten the screw, so I used this disc to cut the screw. I also used the bench grinder and file that's not here right now. I then tapped the post using a 2-56 tap and some oil that I happen to have around. And I used this little Allen wrench to put the screw in. So it's a very simple thing. Also, the tool that I use in the Dremel to take the wheels off is this little stone wheel. It's very simple. Any stone wheel will do. Even those barrel sanders I've seen people use, they all work good. Also, to hold the screw when I did stuff with it, I use these locking pliers. I use these for everything, from holding the model when painting to just holding the screws when grinding them. Unfortunately, I crowned the tip of this slightly, but it's okay. Not too much damage. Anyway, this is everything. And also, I should probably mention that I cut the tip off this tap so it will go in further. Actually, technically I didn't cut the tip off. It kind of, I broke the tip off in a model, but I used the bench grinder to make it fully flat, and it will go in further than a pointed tab. Also, I picked up this vise recently, and this worked very well for holding the model when I initially drilled out the rivet. So yeah, I also used a flat blade screwdriver to take out the windshield and the interior. The windshield was stuck in very badly, so I used an eyeglass screwdriver too. So just so in case you want the tools, those are what I used. So yeah, let's get back to the paint stripper. As you can see, I spread some paint remover all over this car. I'm gonna have to flip it over and do the bottom once I finish with the top. I used just some Ready Strip Safer paint remover, very simple stuff, and it gives good results. I'd love to get something more powerful, but for now this works. To spread it over, I used to use this old toothbrush, and that's what I'm gonna use to take it off. As you can see, this little piece of plastic has clearly seen better times. It's quite beat up, missing a bit of its paint, and even as you can see here, there's some of the green paint coming through on the bottom, or teal rather. I'm gonna scrub it up with some soapy water and this toothbrush, and then I'm gonna repaint it with some Rust-Oleum silver paint. I'll show you when that's done. It is now time to clean the windshield up. There's a crack in it, which is very unfortunate. And you can see where the windows are because of how scuffed up it is around them. And I scratched the top, but the top isn't gonna be visible, so that's not a big deal. Now to clean it up, I use a cotton buffing wheel, and I use my Dremel with some clear coat polishing compound. Usually I can get about 2 uses out of these before they're done. I should probably only do one, but I don't want to waste them because this still has a lot of life left in it. And basically just rub it against this with the polishing compound, and it should come out beautiful. Let's see what happens. Well, this is how the windshield turned out. It's not perfect because this crack is still very visible, which is really annoying, but there's really not much that can be done about that. There are some scratches still visible, but that's okay because they're not going to be shown by the windows. You can kind of see where the windows were, and they're not going to be shown when the windshield is put into place. I'm not going to go crazy trying to get scratches that aren't even going to be visible out of this windshield. And I think it looks overall a ton better than it did before. This is what the base looks like after it's been painted. I just set it on a shoebox to paint it on with this piece of card, and I think it looks pretty nice. It just doesn't have all those paint chips and everything on it, and you can't see that green coming through, and you still get a lot of the detail. I like it. In regards to the wheels, I will be trying to make a tire wash. I will be using some X1 Black Tamiya and some thinners and some little bottles that I'm going to put the paint in when I'm done with my little glass mixing bowl that I always use. I'll mix it up, put it in this little bottle, and then put these tires onto here and spread the paint over them. Also, the axles are looking quite grimy. I'm going to run them through my drill with some sandpaper, and that should shine them up nice. I'll show you when that's been completed. As you can see, here are the tires and axles. The axles are nice and shiny, and the tires are looking almost new. Only a couple. This one looks really good, but you can see on the other side, the side that was facing out, they're a bit scratched up, but the side that was in looks in excellent condition, except for in like this one where it's a little damaged, but that's okay. You won't really notice when it's on the car. But yeah, I think I'm very glad I did this tire wash because it was very effective. All the tires look really nice. So this is what the truck looks like when it's been stripped down to the bare metal. As you can see, there's a ton of detail on this casting with all the sides and inside and the roof and the grill. There's all these tanks on the side and all these other parts on this side. It's a lot of detail. I can't get all the paint out of it because there's just so many little spots for this paint to be, and panel lines and stuff like that. But hopefully it will all be removed when it comes time to go over it. Now what I'm going to go over it with is a brass wheel and a Dremel. I'll show you what that looks like after I've completed it. That will shine up the body and scuff it a little bit to prepare it for paint. So let's see what it looks like once it's been all shined up with that. This is what the casting looks like after it's been polished up a bit, and I did some work on the pits. There's still some pits on the roof that were really deep. I might try to sand the primer if they look bad, but if it doesn't look bad, then I'm going to leave it as is. It's not too terrible. There's a lot of detail on this, and you're really going to see that detail with the primer. So I'm excited to get some primer on this. I'm using some locking pliers to hold it, or rather they're surgical forceps, I think is what they're called. And they work pretty well. As you can see, I've used these a lot. They got a lot of primer on them. But yeah, I'm going to use the Tamiya Fine Surface Primer. I always use white because this is my preference. But I'm running low on this, so I'm going to have to get more. But I have to do the bottom and the top, so wish me luck it doesn't run, because I always have problems with it running. This is it directly after it was primed. The primer is still wet, but you can see all the details on it. I'm going to show it up close a little bit later, but I used a vise, the same vise I used to drill out the rivet, to hold the casting while it dries. I was going to rig it up with this thing and a clip, but I decided this was way better of an idea. But yeah, I like the look of this casting a lot. I'm not sure if the roof looks really bad like this or not. I don't think these pits are too bad. When I paint it, they might not be visible, because I know sometimes that when I've had slight pits, they've not been visible after paint, just because of the shine of the paint. So I might not bother with those, but yeah, I think it looks pretty nice. Only downside that I noticed was you can't see it from here, but see if I can get underneath. On the bottom, I had some problems where it ran in the edges a little bit, were on the words, but I think when I paint it, it should hopefully be okay. I think the reason it ran was because I always wash it before I put primer on it, but I didn't dry it probably on the bottom quite enough. I probably should have dried around the words a little bit, but I think it still looks nice, and I'm gonna look at it better when it fully dries, because it tends to come out better when it dries than when it's wet. But yeah, I just wanted to show how I had it rigged up and everything with the vise. I know I said in the previous video that I was going to show it when it was the primer was dry, but I completely forgot. That's what it looks like now, though, because I just painted it. Now you can't really see it in here because this is wet paint. I might show it when it's dry. I might not. I might just show it when it's done. But what I will say is my airbrush is not quite right. I just got new nozzles for my airbrush, and I don't think I had them. I don't think they're quite right. I don't know. Maybe they're the right ones, I just didn't put them in right or something like that. Maybe they don't have the O-ring good, or I really don't know, but I think it came out really good. I just know that a couple small spots have some orange peel texture to them, but most of it looks pretty good. I can only show you this much from this camera angle, but I'll show it up close hopefully later. So here's the truck after the paint. I think it came out really nice. I personally really like it. I think I did a good job on the color, and overall it looks pretty nice. The last step is to put the wheels on and then to assemble it. First I'll put the wheels on. As you can see, there's a nice side of the wheels and then a not so nice side of the wheels. Actually, this one isn't the best example. This one's a little bit better. It's pretty bad on one side and nice on the other because of this, which side faced in and out. And then here are the axles here. I shined them up nice. Wearing gloves to keep me from fingerprinting on the body after it's been painted, because the paint isn't fully cured yet, but it's pretty hard. It's been 2 days. And this is the interior, not the interior, the base and the grill and bumper and all that kind of stuff. That also gets the axle through it, and then there's the spot through here. So let's see how it goes. I think I can use these axles and I won't have to do any brass ones, but we'll find out. Well, as you can see, all the axles have been fitted into place. I still have to brush off the wheels real quick before assembly. But now it is time to assemble the truck, so let's see what it looks like all done. Well, as you can see, this truck started off looking pretty bad. Missing a good amount of its paint, the grille was scratched up, tires were very damaged, and there was a big crack in the windshield, and overall, it wasn't looking very good. And it needed to be redone. But now, it's been all fixed up, and it looks like this. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. You stick around to watch more of my restorations, subscribe, and leave a like. And I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye. Also, as I mentioned, here is the trailer that I have. This has not been redone and it's in its original condition.